Luxuries used to be about the things we couldn't have. They were aspirational, always out of reach, and reserved for the elite. They elevated people's lives far beyond the ordinary. But our definition of luxury has changed. Those first two factors have fallen away. Now the majority of the world has access to things that can elevate their lives beyond the ordinary. You have access to them too. Sometimes they're within your grasp, but you're not quite there yet. Sometimes they're a lot harder to reach, but you can get there. They're underrated because we don't value them enough, and we're not using them to their full potential. The biggest proof that you truly value something is that you invest your time, you give it your attention, you maintain and care for it, you make sacrifices for it, and you speak positively about it. So for each of the 15 luxuries, ask yourself, am I taking advantage of the luxuries I have access to? And am I working toward the ones I don't? Because they can be taken for granted until they've gone. Sometimes they're not immediately quantifiable, and in a world that values the things that can be seen and counted, things that we can't measure aren't as easily as recognized. You have the tools to take your entire life to the top level. You're watching this video, so you're already on your way there. Listen closely, Aluxer, and take these luxuries and run with them. Starting off at number 1, you're connected to the richest, most successful people in the world. 66% of the global population has access to the internet, which means 66% of people in the entire world have access to a financial education. In the early 20th century, that number was just 30%, and they only counted developing countries back then. And you don't just have access to that education. You've got a golden ticket, a front row seat to listen to the advice given and the books written by some of the wealthiest people in history. No matter where you are in the world right now or how dire your circumstances may be, as long as you've got a connection, you've got a chance. And while some people recognize this, sometimes it's not enough. Your For You page shouldn't be filled with breakups and makeups of random influencers and celebrities. It should be filled with stories of people like you who faced ups and downs and challenges along the way and still reached their goals. You have the incredible luxury of turning everything you consume into inspiration and education. And that is going to get you out of a heavy mindset, out of an impoverished community, or out of suffocating debt. It's literally at your fingertips, Aluxer, so use it. With all of the drive and determination you possess, use it. Number 2, you've got the knowledge to make informed decisions. For most of human existence, we had to make decisions with very little information, right? Our ancestors' successes and failures were mostly because of good or bad luck. They didn't have enough knowledge to weigh up the choices properly. The few that did succeed did so because they were wealthy or able to pour their resources into acquiring knowledge. You have the knowledge now, but remember, access to education is one thing, knowledge is another. Knowledge goes beyond basic education. It involves critical thinking skills, access to accurate and relevant information, and practical experience. You need the opportunity to put what you learn into practice to gain knowledge. And these are skills you'll have to seek out on your own. You won't get them in a traditional school system. You develop these skills by talking to people who you totally disagree with and trying to find some common ground. You enhance them by seeking out older people who you admire and who you can learn from. And you also have to know that every source, no matter how trustworthy they seem at first, should always be double and triple checked. Don't assume that education alone will help you make informed decisions. You also need to be able to assess and apply your knowledge in the real world. Education alone just isn't enough. Number 3, the worry and guilt that comes with excessive spending. Worry, guilt, stress, and anxiety are all awful emotions that have a huge effect on your mental state. But you know what? They're warning signs. And once you address the signs with a plan and action, and then see results from that, the warning signs will soften. When you don't do that, and you try to ignore them, They just become louder and more powerful, Aluxer. Your worry and guilt around money are like your two best friends telling you that you need to be careful here. You need to rein it in, because they're letting you know that you're being reckless and irresponsible. So listen to these voices. Now, of course, we would never see negative emotions as a luxury, right? The idea they could be a tool that you could use to make your life better seems preposterous. But once you heed those signs and give them the attention and work they're shouting for, you'll be grateful you had those warning signs. You'll see them as a luxury because now you're sitting in a much better position after listening to them. But when you ignore them and lie to yourself, well, they start to become unmanageable. Number 4, contentment without flaunting. Now, most of us go through similar stages of confidence building and self-esteem destroying periods in our lives. As children, we're pretty free and content. While there are moments of wanting to one-up our friends, it's not because of a high or low self-esteem, it's just experimentation with social norms and behavior. As teenagers, though, that confidence is constantly questioned, and there's this desperate need to prove yourself. You want the nicest clothes, to make the best jokes, to be a part of the conversation. For some people, as they move from their teenage years to their college and working years, they gain that confidence back. There's no need to flaunt your success because you know your value and worth. It doesn't have to be thrown in people's faces, they can feel it. But not everyone evolves that way. Some people feel more desperate and out of place. Aluxer, if you're one of those people who work hard and quietly, share your triumphs with the people closest to you and laugh it off when someone questions your success. Savor that. It's a luxury and a relief. Your contentment shows immense confidence. It shows that you're free from the pressures of consumerism and the need to impress others. In a culture that values material displays of wealth, the peace that comes from not needing to follow that is a very overlooked and underrated luxury. Number 5, the ability to connect your passions with profits. We live in a time where you don't even have to sacrifice or delay following your passions in favor of being financially stable. Now more than ever, you've got the luxury of connecting your passions with profit. Whether it's writing, working on cars, playing music, collecting artwork, taking photos, or renovating old furniture, your passions can be your moneymaker. Take collecting artwork, for example. For the longest time, profits from this were reserved for the mega rich. The pie was too big and expensive to allow for other people to gain access to it. But now we've got the tools and resources that give everyone an opportunity to turn this passion into some major profit. If you've ever been interested in collecting or selling art, if you love the message and interpretation of unique pieces, and admire the creativity and craftsmanship, but you haven't been able to be a part of that high-end world, well, now you can. If you've watched our videos before, then you know we work closely with Masterworks, the sponsor of today's video. Now, we fully believe that everyone should understand that they have the ability to make a profit from their passion. You might not have the money to buy a $50 million painting, but Masterworks gives you the opportunity to invest in multi-million-dollar artwork without breaking the bank or being some kind of art aficionado. Instead of buying an entire Picasso or Banksy painting, you can invest in shares of it. And when the offering is sold, any potential profits are split among the shareholders in that offering. They've already filed over 400 paintings to be securitized and broken into shares. Their pieces range from $500,000 to $20 million, and they've distributed back a total of $60 million in investor proceeds across their 23 exits. And even through the current art market slowdown, they just sold an $8 million Basquiat piece. Now you've got the same information and access as the ultra-wealthy. We're even giving you a special pass to skip Masterworks waitlist at the link in the description or the QR code that's on screen right now. Aluxer, passion plus profit equals fulfillment and financial stability. Truly, okay, it's a luxury you just can't let pass you by. And here's another equation for ya. Number 6, technology plus early investment in health equals future dividend payments. Your health is an asset that appreciates over time. When you invest in it early, you increase your productivity, reduce healthcare costs, and just enhance your overall life satisfaction. But because we don't immediately see the benefits of this early investment, we tend to undervalue the benefit altogether. It's easy to overlook it because, unlike material possessions, these benefits accumulate slowly over time. It pays dividends in the future because, as medical technology evolves, those who've been looking after their health will be able to take advantage of these advancements a lot more effectively. You extend your lifespan and improve the quality of your life in older age. Number 7. Reclaiming your time to spend it as you choose. Here's another question for you, Aluxer. What's more of a luxury to you? The time you live your life the way you want to, or buying the bag, the golf clubs, or the car that gives you status? Now, for those of you who said time, first of all, you're right, but do you live your life that way? Truly. Are you focusing your energy on strategies that will help you reclaim your time to spend it as you choose? And for those of you who said material possessions, well, at least you're honest and aware. But know that if you're only focused on material possessions, then you're not just sacrificing your money, okay? You're also sacrificing your time and the luxury to be able to live the way you want to live eventually. In our work-centric culture, the importance of time can be overshadowed by the pursuit of material wealth. When you're working toward financial independence, don't think just about the wealth you want to accumulate because then you'll spend your entire life working. Instead, think about how you can generate that wealth without sacrificing your time. Now, you might think you know about the value of time, but if you're not investing in your financial future now, then you don't truly understand just how incredible it is. Financial independence allows you to live your life on your own terms. It's a form of freedom and luxury that is so underappreciated until it is achieved. Luxury is often defined as something that provides comfort, convenience, or pleasure, but isn't essential to everyday life. Luxury is anything that enhances life in a way that's considered above the ordinary. Value, importance, or potential is not fully recognized or appreciated, not given the attention it deserves, despite being significant and incredibly valuable. Number 8. Having multiple choices for like 99% of your decisions. The fact that you have a choice of where you work, how much you earn, where you live, and basically anything you want in life is a luxury that most people don't believe they have, even though they do. You might think you don't have a choice about how much money you can make, but have you put in 100% effort into learning new skills, applying for new jobs, and negotiating your salary? The competition is tough, but the choices are there, they exist. If you don't like where you live, have you put in 100% effort to work hard, make the sacrifices, save the money, and do the planning to make that move? The truth is, you have the luxury. While it might seem scary and it'll take a lot of time and work from you, there's no reason to not be appreciating and considering this luxury you have. Number 9, the peace of mind of automation. Now, peace of mind and automation don't really sound like they should be in the same sentence, right? But if you think about it, automation tools are like having your own private assistant. If you set them up and use them properly, you don't just save time on things like payments, putting money into your savings or investments. You also save yourself a wealth of stress and second guessing. And look, okay, we get that automating some of these things might feel like you're letting go of control, but the manual monitoring and changes that come with doing it yourself can lead to you missing opportunities and making mistakes. Which one seems more reasonable and logical, Aluxer? You also never fully let go of control with this. The button and decision is still at your fingertips whenever you want. If it's a luxury you've got access to, it's one that you should be using and learning more about. Who doesn't want their own financial personal assistant? Number 10, the luxury of starting over. You live in a time where if you make a mistake, if you're unhappy somewhere, you can try again somewhere else. You can start over. You can start over at a new job. If you're unhappy in your relationship, you've got the freedom and opportunity to end things and move on. Starting over takes a lot of financial and emotional resources, but the resources are available for you to use them. They're there for you if you can make the right decision. You get to reinvent and rediscover yourself, and it's a luxury that gives you the chance to break free from past mistakes or unfulfilling career paths. You're a grown-up. You've worked hard. You live in a connected world. And with that, you've earned the right to turn your back on something that is no longer serving you. Number 11, a supportive financial community. If you grew up with parents who taught you even just a little bit about earning, saving, and investing, then you hit the jackpot, okay? They don't have to be rich, but getting these lessons from them can save you mistakes and bad decisions. It's actually not very common to get this education either. Even the most supportive present parents overlook or forget about teaching their children about how to manage their money. But even if you missed out as a kid, when you're older, you have the chance to create this community yourself. Having those resources and support makes a huge impact on your ability to grow your money. It's only when you aim for high financial goals or when you experience a really difficult time that you see the benefits of having that community around you. Number 12, the luxury of a long-term vision. Even though we hear a lot about the importance of investing, budgeting, and having extra streams of income, in our day-to-day lives, living according to those values is often looked down upon. You might be called boring because you don't go out as much as everyone else, or you're not up to date with the latest trends or styles, so you're almost excluded from certain circles. Your ability to do this comes from clear, long-term vision, and not everybody has that. If you do have it, though, you understand the sacrifices you have to make now to meet your goals in the future. As time goes on, those with the luxury of a long-term vision can do things that will give them financial security and stability for the rest of their lives. Number 13, a quiet mind. A quiet mind doesn't mean that there's nothing happening in there, okay? It means that you're able to tone down the chatter and direct your focus where you want it to go. You might have a quiet mind when you're doing a task or activity you enjoy, when you're focused on work or planning to improve your life. But not everyone has a quiet mind, though, especially when they're not engaged in an activity. The overthinking and racing thoughts can taint the thoughts that are actually able to make you move forward. If you've got the luxury of a quiet mind, use it to your full advantage, my friend. And if you don't, well, it's something to work on, especially when you know it can be done. Number 14, slow mornings. If you're watching this on a quiet Saturday or Sunday morning, or even during the week before work and you don't have children yet, treasure this luxury, okay? Having a morning where your day doesn't start in a rush is a privilege that not everyone has, especially if you have a demanding job or family responsibilities. Starting your day calmly in the way you want to start it sets a great tone for the rest of your day. You get to plan thoughtfully and work through your anxieties so you have a more productive day. It's such a small thing you don't realize how amazing it is until you don't have it anymore. Now, this doesn't mean that you won't ever have a slow morning when you have children. There's always a way to make it work. It's just going to take a lot more work and planning. And number 15, a home that is all yours. Owning a home is a dream and a reality for many of you, and the feeling of actually having a home that's all yours, paid off with your name on the property deed, is an incredible weight off your shoulders. You feel unstoppable because you'll always have this safety net beneath you. Don't take for granted the stability and comfort that come with having a permanent space to live. The peace and security of knowing that you have a place entirely yours can be overlooked until it's no longer there. And the long-term benefits like property appreciation and building equity are undervalued because they don't give you immediate rewards, but they do pay off big time in the future. It's one of those luxuries worth putting your time and effort into, worth sacrificing for. And once you have it, you won't ever want to go back. And that's all from us, Luxer. Thanks for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you in the comments, though. What luxuries have you used to your advantage? And what ones are you still working toward? We'll see you back here next time, my friend. Until then, take care.